I mean, listen, we're talking about practice.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Hello? You play to win the game.
I am very excited to talk about sports!
Hey everybody, Nick here with the Wednesday Night Sports Podcast with another edition of Something to Football With. I love you, Conrad. And of course, we have my co-host, Logan. How's it going, Logan?
I am counting down the days until this season starts. I tried to watch that preseason game last week, and it wasn't that good, like I predicted.
Yes. And the Falcons lost.
Yeah. Which, who cares?
Right. Do you think that it came clear who the number 2, in all intents and purposes, is going to be for the Broncos?
No.
So did Hogan and Locke blow goats, or
They weren't bad. I don't think anybody blew anybody away. Rippin, whatever his name is, who's also in the fight, had a game-winning drive, kind of off a lucky tip catch. But I mean, it's just nobody blew me away. I mean, it was a very low-scoring game. I think the score was 14-10 or something like that.
something quick like that? Yeah.
It wasn't a pretty game.
You know, do you think that the AAF would have been better? If we saw an extra week of the AAF, would it have been better than what you saw this previous week?
Yeah, you don't get, shots in the preseason.
And that's a John Wolford to Rashad Ross touchdown, Arizona Hotshots, everybody!
Shot.
So we'll go ahead and get things started. We'll go ahead and start talking about the least boring 2 divisions that we will be talking about tonight. The NFC East. I don't like any of these teams, to be honest with you. Yet they're always on fucking TV.
We are thankful for the Eagles and the Giants beating the Patriots in Super Bowls, though.
Oh yeah, I can definitely say that, but week over week, I don't care to watch it. You know what I mean?
Right. You can't spell elite without ELI.
And we just lost all our viewers that understood that reference. You big dummy.
What are these guys talking about? Delete?
Delete. So last season, you had the Dallas Cowboys coming in at 10-6. They got the 4th seed in the playoffs. And then Philadelphia Eagles came second with 9-7. They got the 6th seed.
Knocked off the Bears.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have to think that if it wasn't for that last kick,
yeah,
the Bears probably would have made it to the next round. But the Eagles, honestly, I was rooting for the Eagles against the Saints, who they faced in the divisional round, and almost beat.
I was pulling for the Saints.
I mean,
I don't have anything against Philly other than like their fans are kind of like, hardcore, but
they throw batteries at people and they boo Santa Claus.
Yeah, Michael Irvin broke his neck and they cheered.
Yeah. I just like underdog story, and I thought that they could easily repeat it with Nick Foles. Mm-hmm. Because it's obvious that Peterson had the plan of starting with what, god damn it. Why can't I talk? I can't talk, cannot think. When cats are freaking the fuck out.
Yes.
They had their 2 quarterback combo last season, and it worked the first season when Foles came in and they won the Super Bowl. So
Right.
I was part of the contingency that was thinking they were going to do it again last year, especially when it happened again.
Yeah. Yeah. I was right there with you. I believe there was that shot that they still had some of that magic in there.
Shots.
Yeah. I mean, they could have easily been knocked out in the first round. And what was the score of the Saints and the Eagles game last year?
Something ridiculous.
Was it even? Oh, it was 20-14. So I mean, the Eagles didn't lose by much. I mean, they could have easily made it to the conference championship again.
Well, I think the Eagles were up 14-0 at one point.
Yeah, they were. They're up 14-0, and then Breeze responded very quickly in the second quarter. It looked like.
Yeah.
The Eagles never scored again.
Do you think the Eagles should have let Foles go?
Well, they had to let one of them go, and
But Foles
guess
won
it
him a
wa-
Super Bowl.
he did. I guess they were going to go with the younger overall player in Carson Wentz.
If he gets hurt again this year, did they make the wrong decision?
Depends on what Jacksonville does. If Foles takes, which we won't get into Jacksonville too much because that's saved for our later division preview. But say Jacksonville gets to a conference championship or something, and the Eagles miss the playoffs or something. Yeah, you may look back on it and say, "Whoa,
Yeah.
why didn't they keep Foles?"
Right.
They went with the younger guy. He is injury prone. When he's good, he's good. Don't get me wrong, but he is injury prone.
Right. And going back to the Cowboys with this talk of Ezekiel Elliott sitting out the entire 2019 season just so he can get his deal.
I think it shakes up the whole division. I think you got to pay. Well, it depends. Because last year, I feel the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't need to pay Le'Veon Bell because James Conner was so good.
Right.
I think Ezekiel Elliott's a very good running back. And I think he's the reason that Prescott, when he is good, when he does well, it's because of Ezekiel Elliott, I believe.
Right.
And they have a really good offensive line as well. But Ezekiel, man, it's just tough for a defense to match up because you got to watch him, and then you have to watch Prescott with his running capability. So it's kind of like pick your poison at times. But with Ezekiel Elliott out, I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and with Prescott's weapons, such as Amari Cooper, Michael Beasley, do you think he's able to do as much damage without
Prescott?
Yeah.
He's certainly got the weapons. I think Cole Beasley's one of the most underrated receivers in the league.
I said Michael Beasley. Oh my god.
Oh man, Michael Beasley's one of the best stoners in the NBA.
Yeah.
Well, they did get Jason Witten back. He came back from Monday Night Football. To me, if they have Ezekiel Elliott, they're my favorite for the division. I'll give you my surprise pick here in a little bit. But they're the number 2 team to me with Ezekiel out.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have the Washington Redskins, 7-9. I know we have a question regarding it, but I feel like the Redskins have been cursed.
Yeah.
For God knows how long. They cannot get a franchise quarterback.
And I think they finally got the guy. This team, last year, at the midpoint going into Thanksgiving, they were right there with a shot to win the division, and Alex Smith went down, broke his leg the week before Thanksgiving, I believe, and it seemed it was all over from there. They couldn't distribute points with Colt McCoy.
Also hurt
Josh,
himself.
AAF legend Josh Johnson, right?
Josh Jackson.
Josh Jackson came in, and he won a game, but it still wasn't enough. I mean, you look, their points for, I think, was near the very bottom of the league. They scored only 281 points. They allowed 359, so they just weren't scoring in games.
Right. Josh Jackson did score him some nasty points, though, and I probably should have started him towards the end of the I mean, it didn't matter because I won my league, but he would have been a nice pickup. And then, of course, you have at the end the New York Giants, who consists of 37-year-old Eli Manning and 24-year-old Saquon Barkley.
And Jones from Duke, who was the surprise pick of the NFL draft because they could have it was predicted that he was going to go late first round or second round, and they picked him like in the top 5 over the Redskins quarterback Dwayne Haskins. So is that going to be one they regret down the road? I think it is. I think Haskins is going to be a very good quarterback.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a another dummy move by the New York Giants, and that's the reason why they're going to be stuck with Eli Manning again this year. With no offensive line, so they can't throw.
Even if you do throw your rookie out there, it's just going to be like throwing them to the Wolves because you still have no offensive line.
Right. So
you almost feel bad for the kid.
Right. So basically all you have is Saquon Barkley, and obviously people are going to pick him pretty quickly in fantasy football. But is he going to be able to produce what he did last year?
I think teams may key on to him more with 2 of the receivers for the Giants got injured in the preseason. Sterling Shepard and Corey Coleman. I think Shepard's supposed to be back at some point early. Golden Tate got suspended. So they are down to their 4th wide receiver. I think Evan Ingram, the tight end for the Giants, is a fantasy sleeper. I think he's going to be the one that's going to contribute for the offense. I think they're going to be a lot of double and triple teams just trying to phase Barkley out of the playbook.
Yeah, and they don't have Odell Beckham Jr. anymore as well.
No, yeah, that's definitely a key loss. And they lost their all-pro safety, Landon Collins, to the Washington Redskins.
It seems like all worthless players that want to get paid go to the Redskins. And I say that because a lot of people want to get paid and then they end up being worthless after they go to the Redskins. Now, I don't know if it's a matter of them just going to another system and the system not working out, or if they just don't have the skills that everybody thought they had.
It does seem like, really good players, like they're all pros, Pro Bowlers, and then they do go to Washington and they never succeed. I remember Albert Hainsworth back in the day. I can name off a bunch of them any other time, but I can't think of many more. Deshaun Jackson, his numbers kind of went down from Philly when he went to Washington. It just always seems like that happens, though.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because they get a lot of talent, and I don't know how they're able to finance all these guys, but it's ridiculous. And everybody says, "Oh, it's their year, it's their year." Honestly, as long as Dan Snyder is owner of the Washington Redskins, it'll never be their year. So you want to go ahead and give your predictions on standings for the
With
NFC
that
East?
said, after what you just said, it's going to be the Washington Redskins year in the NFC East.
Oh my!
They are going to win the East. I am a believer in Dwayne Haskins. In second, I think the Cowboys and the Eagles are going to tie because that's just how the NFC East is. Everything's always close, and the Giants are going to come in the tail end. I think they've got their two key young pieces, but they still have no defense after losing everybody, and they still have no offensive line. Last year they gave up 412 points.
Right.
That was up there with most points allowed for a team. They actually scored a good bit. They scored 367. Was kind of like right in the middle, above average, I guess I'd say.
Well, it certainly was better than the Cowboys.
Right. And of course, a lot of that was just
and 2 more than the Eagles, and yet so they had the most points out of all 4 teams in the NFC East, and yet they still did not make the playoffs, and they went 5-11.
They lost a lot of close games last year. But a lot of that point scoring was like get it to Barkley, and Barkley made something incredible happen out of nothing.
Right. So for me, I have it the Redskins in 4th. The Giants 3rd. The Cowboys 2nd. And the Eagles 1st.
And I might want to add this as well. I do believe if Ezekiel Elliott does play for the Cowboys this year, they'll win the division. I should add that.
Right. Yeah.
I think it all depends on him.
Yeah. For me, the NFC East is just garbage in general. So I feel like that the Cowboys and Eagles will tie at 9-7-1.
And their game that they tie is going to be the one they play each other.
Correct. But the Eagles have a better overall conference record. That's how the Eagles get the Cowboys.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and move on to the AFC East. Fuck the New England Patriots! Last year, the Patriots went 11-5, secured the 2nd seed in the playoffs, and won the Super Bowl. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I hate football.
And let's keep in mind that the Chiefs had a game-winning interception to beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship last year, and their idiotic defensive end put his hand right over the line of scrimmage for an offsides. That's how close the Chiefs were to going to the Super Bowl last year.
If that doesn't happen, the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl, and we have a more interesting Super Bowl than the one that we had.
We have a Monday Night Football repeat from the game of the year last year.
Oh, yeah, that game was nuts.
And it turns into the greatest Super Bowl of all time.
Right. Instead, we get the most boring Super Bowl of all time.
I still think the Colts and the Bears and the Seahawks and the Broncos was worse.
Yeah.
At least this did come down to the fourth quarter.
But also the fact that there weren't any good commercials as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's a whole other topic. It was probably the worst year of Super Bowl commercials I can remember in recent memory.
Oh, absolutely.
Or if ever.
I agree. And then you had the Dolphins 2nd. Not make the playoffs, go figure. 7-9. When was the last time the Dolphins made the playoffs? Was it the year that Brady got hurt?
The year that Matt Moore died. When you were at the playoff game.
Duh. I remember that. I was there. Hello.
What, 3 years ago, I think?
Almost, yeah.
The Dolphins, interesting enough, were one of the best home teams last year, but couldn't win any road games. They were 6-2 at home and 1-7 on the road. If they could have just won some road games, they would have made the playoffs. They just barely missed out.
It's because everybody gets hungover in Miami. Doing too much cocaine.
I guess we might, since we're on the topic of the Dolphins, They added Josh Rosen and Ryan Fitzpatrick. So you know that means the Dolphins are going to start 3-0 and then suck. Because Fitzpatrick always starts good.
You know, if we get some Fitzmagic and that keeps the Patriots at bay, you know, I'm okay with our almighty Dolphin overlords.
I've always been a fan of Fitzmagic. He's a pretty cool dude. I wish he would be consistent, though.
Yeah, we definitely ended Fitzmagic last year. The Steelers did.
Yeah, and then it was funny, though, because like he sucked and then they took him back out. Then they brought him back at the end of the year, and he did it again.
Do you think it's just a mental game with him?
It's got to be.
You know, for being one of the smartest guys in the league, he sure knows how to make an enemy of himself.
What if he's just trolling himself and he's like, I want to suck. I don't care. I graduated from Harvard.
And then you have the Buffalo Bills, who went 6-10 and actually had a player quit.
Oh, yeah. I forgot all about that.
During halftime. Maybe it's just, you know, Buffalo is another one of those cursed places.
Yeah, I feel bad for them. They're a team that I always pull for just because I like to see them win.
I was a big fan of Tyrod Taylor. I'll tell you that one.
Oh, we were wrong about Cole Beasley on the Cowboys. He signed with the Bills.
He's with the Bills now?
Yeah.
What the hell? When was that?
I didn't know that even happened.
Was that recent or
back in when free agency started?
Oh man. Wow.
And they got old man Frank Gore.
Oh man. Old man Frank Gore.
And John Brown.
Is LaShawn McCoy someone you should avoid drafting this year?
Yeah, I've tried to avoid him the last few years.
Well, I drafted him last year, and immediately after 2 weeks, I was like, I gotta drop him, and I posted in the subreddit Fantasy Football, not the Nazi one, but the regular one, and I said I'm ready to drop him, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? What are you doing?" He didn't do anything after that, outside of like one random 20-point game, fantasy points.
He's 31 years old now. That's the age where they start going downhill.
Yeah. Or if you're Todd Gurley, you're... And we'll talk more about Todd Gurley once we get to the NFC West. But yeah. And then you have the New York Jets. Oh, man. 4-12 last year, but they got Le'Veon Bell.
Your boy.
My boy.
They picked the top defensive tackle to boost their defense with the third pick this year, Quinnen Williams from Alabama.
Do you see them doing something this year?
No. I just see the Patriots winning this whole division.
Nobody else makes the playoffs?
The Bills and the Dolphins. Vegas has the Miami Dolphins as the worst team in the NFL, and I don't think so. I think the Dolphins are a little bit better than that. I think the Dolphins will contend for an outside wild card. I think they'll just miss out on it, though. I don't think the Dolphins are as bad as everybody says. I think they're a around 500, little under team.
Which is not enough to make it.
No, they're about like they're
AFC.
Always been 7-9, 6-10.
Yeah. Do you think Bell has a breakout year this year, or is he going to tear his quad in the first game?
I think he'll do well. I just don't think it'll be enough, though.
Do you think he was worth the money?
If I'm not, well, I think he is because the Jets needed him. But the funny thing is, he didn't get much, the numbers difference wasn't that much different than what Pittsburgh was offering him.
Right.
So it's what was this whole thing about?
And then also, the Jets do not have an offensive line.
No. A lot of people wanted them to bolster it over the offseason. That's still going to be an issue. And that's I mean, you can have a running back, but if you ain't got an offensive line, it don't matter. They did trade yesterday for one of the Ravens' offensive linemen, but they still got a long way to go. To build that, fortify that line.
I think Bell's out after this year because of injuries.
Like already moving on to another team.
Yeah, I think they trade him.
Wasn't there the rumor that they wanted to trade him like right after they signed him the week after?
Oh, Gase is not a fan. The head coach.
Right. Yeah, I guess I could see it happening. He basically criticized the move because didn't they make the signing before they even hired their head coach yet?
Yeah. So I think there's going to be a lot of drama in the locker room this season for the Jets.
So do you want to go over our order for the division?
Yeah. So I'm going to start from the very bottom. I'm going with the Jets. I'm going the Bills. I'm going the Dolphins.
The same exact order?
Yeah. And then I have nobody actually making the playoffs from the AFC East.
The Patriots win a division at 16, like 11-5, and they just still don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They veto them out.
I'm okay with that. Can they do postseason bans like they do in college sports? Can they do that for the Patriots, please?
No. The only thing that happens is when they punish people is just take their picks away. Which a team like the Patriots, it don't matter because Belichick's like a G at like picking players in the draft that nobody knows who they are and turns them into studs.
Right.
And then they go to other teams and then they aren't good. A lot of them. It's like that Belichick system.
System quarterback.
I have the exact same order. I think the Dolphins are going to be better than the other two, even though like there are a lot of people are saying they aren't going to win. I don't think the Dolphins are as bad as everybody says.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be another boring year in the AFC East. Honestly, I don't like either division that we talked about. Those two divisions are the two divisions that I avoid the most when it comes to watching football, which is why I'm glad I have the Sunday ticket. And that's why I do not watch Monday Night Football unless the Steelers are playing.
Oh, because they're always showing these teams?
Correct.
That is true. I feel like they show the Patriots and the Dolphins and the Patriots against the Jets on Monday Night Football like every 3 weeks or something.
And it's the same thing with the AFC East.
Or the NFC East. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's like the Cowboys get like Monday Night Football treatment.
And the Giants.
And the Skins.
Yeah. And the Eagles.
That is why I enjoy Sunday Night Football, because at the end of the year, you get flex scheduling, and they give you the biggest game basically on Sunday night.
Right. So you want to go ahead and head to our mailbag?
Yeah, let me pull it up if you want to do our intro for it.
Wednesday night mailbag. Give us some questions.
All right, out of Igor's House of the Big Muscle.
Where do you come up with these names?
No idea. NFC East, do you think the Ezekiel Elliott holdout will last into the regular season? I say yes. I think we're good because him and Jerry Jones seem to be going back and forth on things in the media. I think we're going to have another Le'Veon Bell situation.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that because I don't watch the NFC East.
Did you see Le'Veon Bell tweet out today or yesterday? I can't remember which day it was, but he was like, Ezekiel Elliott, go get your money.
But it's been proven that there's not really a market for running backs anymore, especially after what has happened to the likes of Todd Gurley.
Right.
Nobody's getting paid anymore. The bubble has burst. The housing market has collapsed.
Running backs are so easy to replace as long as you have a good offensive line.
Oh, absolutely.
The next question kind of ties into this. Can the Cowboys still compete with Alfred Morris as the starting running back?
Nope.
I think they'll compete, but they'll be a second place team, not a first.
They'll get the 6th seed, probably.
Our next question is, Colt McCoy and Case Keenum are competing for the Redskins quarterback job. Who has the better quarterback name?
Neither. They're both garbage.
Their names are garbage?
Yeah.
I think, here's my thoughts on this. They both have names from like the 1970s, like TV shows. Like Colt McCoy sound like he'd be like a Western, and Case Keenum would be like some detective.
They're very white people names.
Yeah.
And I'm not editing that out. That's a straight fucking shoot.
Next question is now for the Giants. How many games will Eli start before Daniel Jones takes over? How bad of a start would it take?
16 games.
You think they're really going to stick with Eli the whole time?
Yep. Eli's going to be the starting quarterback for the Giants until 2023.
I don't think it'll be that long, but I think they're going to stick with Eli the whole year. AFC East. Josh Rosen or Ryan Fitzpatrick? Who would you put out there to start in Game 1 against the Ravens for the Dolphins?
Dan Marino.
I'm going Fitzmagic. Dan Marino?
Dan Marino. I was watching some Dan Marino highlights today. Shout out to Sports Talk Barry.
Dude was accurate.
Right.
I'd go Fitzmagic. Just because he will at least start the season 3-0. They'll lose 3 in a row after that, but you got to at least get that magic going. Will Le'Veon Bell be a good fantasy running back this year?
Nope.
I'm gonna say he's gonna be average.
I'm certainly not picking him in the first round.
No.
Anybody who does that, it's dumbass.
Will losing Gronk hurt the Patriots' offense significantly, or was he just a luxury to have?
I don't think it'll really matter because it is Bill Belichick and the Patriots.
Right.
Tom Brady is a system quarterback. Hashtag tough scene. So
I think it was a
luxury.
Go ahead. Yeah, I agree. I think he was a luxury. I think he was one of the best tight ends of all time, and he just got lucky enough to fall into the Patriots' lap.
Right.
It was a good system and a great tight end at the same time.
Yeah, I would agree. I got some questions from our good friend Alex over at r/XFL.
Hopefully, they're able to get him on the show sometime again soon.
Yep, that would be nice. Alex says Antonio Brown got frostbite from a chirotherapy session. What other stupid injuries have star athletes given themselves while trying out bullshit medical treatments? And my answer was, I don't fucking know. But Alex did provide a list of the 50 dumbest sports injuries in sports history. And I'll go ahead and we can go straight through football. Okay. If I can find it. Orlando Brown hit in the eye with a flag. Brown's offensive lineman, Orlando Brown, was hit in the eye with the weighted end of a penalty flag. That one that was weighted with BBs. Now they use sand, thrown by referee Jeff Triplett during a game in 1999. Brown reacted by getting up and shoving the referee, which earned a suspension. It wasn't the first battle that Brown would have with the NFL. He sued the NFL for the damage caused to the eye, which prematurely ended his career. The case was settled out of court, and Brown was awarded $50 million. Derek Mason. Fuck the Baltimore Ravens! Receiver at one point for the Ravens. Was playing golf, and he gripped his club during a charity golf tournament, and when he reared back, swung and ended up breaking his wrist on a routine drive.
Jeez.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see if I can find another one. I'm down to 32. Oh, okay. Brandon Marshall slips on a McDonald's wrapper.
What?
Yeah. Brandon Marshall was in the headlines for an injury in 2008. During the offseason, the 6'4", 230-pound star named The Beast suffered lacerations on his right forearm. What happened? Marshall said that he slipped on a McDonald's wrapper on the floor of his house and while trying to brace his fall, put his arm through the television set. Again, in 2008, he wasn't yet rocking the flat screen. Doubts were raised about Marshall's story, but nothing has since come out that we have to believe him and put him on the list of all-time dumbest injuries.
So is his house like dirty, and he just leaves McDonald's wrappers laying around?
You know, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know how that happens.
Was Plaxico Burress shooting himself on the list?
I have not gotten to that point yet. I'm still... Brian Grease, tripped by dog. You'd think an NFL caliber athlete would be able to handle it, but that wasn't the case for Broncos quarterback Brian Grease, who injured his ankle when he was tripped by his dog while walking down the stairs. Still getting there. There's some stupid things like somebody cutting themselves up trying to open a DVD, sticking their hand in an air conditioner, having a scary nightmare, somebody auditioning for the WWE, somebody having self-surgery, breaking a tooth on a donut.
Wait, how?
Kevin Mitchell breaks tooth on donut. Kevin Mitchell's known for making one of the most memorable catches in baseball history. He's also known for one of the dumbest injuries. He once strained an abdominal muscle vomiting, but that's not the one I'm talking about. The one I'm talking about is when Mitchell put a donut in the microwave for too long, bit into it, and broke his tooth.
How long was it in there?
You know, I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know why you'd ever even want to microwave a donut.
No. Did he put it in there for like 20 minutes? I just can't envision it getting hard.
You can't? Maybe you should get some Blue Chew, Logan.
I'd set myself up for that.
Bill Gramatica hit a clutch field goal for the Arizona Cardinals in 2001, so he celebrated like any other player would. Well, not like any other player. Gramatica jumped about 4 inches off the ground, apparently 3 inches higher than he'd ever jumped, and the impact of the fall caused him to tear his ACL. Right.
I remember that. There's actually footage of that on YouTube.
Hunter Pence walks into a sliding door. Plexico Burress shoots his own leg.
I remember there was a baseball pitcher that he injured his wrist from playing Guitar Hero.
I saw something about that on this list. Jesus. How do you get injured playing Guitar Hero?
I don't know. Like, he must have really been into it, like trying to do flips and stuff or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Chris Hansen chops own hand with axe.
Chris Hansen from Dateline NBC.
No, I know. I knew you were gonna say that.
Have a seat.
He was a punter for the Jaguars, and he grabbed an axe, took a mighty swing, and brought the axe down directly onto his left foot. The injury is bad enough to keep the punter out for a month. Steve Sparks tries to rip a phone book in half. Gus Frerotte headbutts wall. after he ran for a touchdown against the New York Giants. And apparently he sprained his neck and had to be taken to the hospital. And the first one, Brian Anderson of the Arizona Diamondbacks one time ironed his own face.
He must have fell on it or something.
He took the iron and pressed it up against his jaw.
Why?
This is the same guy that once missed a start after developing elbow stiffness from leaning his arm across the back seat of a taxi for 20 minutes.
Well, I'm not sure what to say to that.
Yeah. So that's dumb injuries. Thanks to our good buddy Alex, which you can go harass on r/XFL, the non-Nazi XFL subreddit. It's disappointing that we have to differentiate between two XFL subreddits, but you know that's just where we are today.
Hopefully we hope to have Alex back in time for XFL season.
Yeah. So yeah. This week, pretty boring. I hate both divisions, and I hate you for making me do this. Any feedback, Logan?
I think it was a good show.
So you don't hate either of those divisions? It's just me.
I don't hate them.
What division do you dislike the most?
Oh, geez. Well, I enjoy being that guy. I enjoy watching all football. I'm trying to think of something. Maybe the South of the AFC. That's just kind of the division where I just feel nothing about the teams. The Titans, the Jags, the Colts, and the Texans are just like meh to me. Although I am interested in Jacksonville with Foles this year, so I shouldn't say that. I am curious to see how they do. I think they're going to bounce back. Early preview of that show.
Yeah. I don't like the AFC South either. AFC South, NFC South. Anything that is not involving the Steelers, I more than likely will not be watching. But I'll be watching anyways. I'll just begrudgingly watch it. Because it's just, like, if it's good football, it's good football. But I just, like, to me, it's kind of like watching 6 hours of wrestling. It exhausts me to a point. You know what I mean?
Well, I will say, by the time I'm, like, done watching Red Zone, like, I'm exhausted. And then I'm watching Sunday Night Football right after. Usually for fantasy purposes, though, because something's usually coming down to the end.
Oh, yeah. So, like, I remember last year during Hell in a Cell, we watched 6 hours of football. And then it was another 4 or 5 hours of WWE. And it's just like, this is awful. Why am I doing this to myself? But yeah. Next week, we will be talking about, Logan?
The South?
The South. We can talk about the South. That works.
Please get here soon. Please get here soon, football.
Please, football. Are you excited? Are you excited for college football?
I'll be excited. I'm excited for it, but like, I don't care about college football as much as I did when I was a kid. Like, I'm excited for it, but like these last few years, like I'm tired of seeing Clemson and Alabama.
Yeah, I miss the days of USC and Texas.
USC and Texas and Miami being good and Florida State. Like it felt like back then, like anybody could win the championship.
Right.
And now it just is like Alabama and Clemson.
Yeah.
All the time.
Right.
I don't get me wrong. I'll still watch. I still like college football, but it's just Give me something new, man.
I will watch everything but Alabama, and then I'll tune in if Alabama's about to lose.
Because half the time it's not worth tuning in because they'll hype up a game and they'll kill the team.
Correct. And a lot of times I'll end up finding myself watching a lot of the smaller conferences because it seems like that's all that is on Friday nights.
That's true. And they're kind of fun to watch, though, because like those guys are like playing like just to get into a bowl game. Like they're kind of like playing like every game like it's the championship.
Right. So when you have games like USF and UTEP and...
Yeah, because like those bowl games mean everything to a school like that because they're bringing in money that they don't have.
Right. Absolutely. And we should talk more about college football. I feel like that there is a it's just
we'll add it to our bonus segment when it starts.
Yeah, and for me,
I know not everybody has interest in it, so
everybody loves college football. What are you talking about? I'm just kidding. But I did like the games.
Yeah. The only issue I have with college football is I feel like it takes forever. Because like they stop the clock every time you get a first down.
Right.
Until they move the change and then the clock starts back up.
Right.
And I feel like there's more commercial breaks in college too.
Yeah. So that's a wrap. See you guys next week when we talk about the AFC South and the NFC South. But till then, you can follow us on Twitter at STFW Wednesday on Twitter. And Logan, what's your Twitter handle?
By God, Logan. BAHGAWDLOGAN. Follow me, like me, do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, don't follow
me. Good night,
me.
Venezuela.
Yeah. Good night, Ghana.